everyone, welcome to the LARP Tales podcast, the award-winning LARP podcast where we tell our stories through live action roleplay. My name is Oliver. I'm one half of your hosting duo. With me, as always, is my wife and my co-host, Robyn. Hey, Robyn.
Hey, Oliver.
And today we're going to be continuing our recap of Menhir's Fate Event 2. I still don't know whether there's names for the events or not. I don't know. Who knows? Please, someone tell me.
I've heard people call them, name them like gatherings. So are we
Gathering
calling them gatherings?
It's event 2 of Menhir's Fate. Anyway, so before we get into it, the usual housekeeping. If you are new to the Two Having to Roll universe, consider subscribing to the channel so you know when new episodes and content is posted. If you're listening to this podcast on an audio platform, leave us the stars. Have a look in the description of the show notes. There are ways to support us down there. There's a referral code for Empire LARP if you're keen on going to that LARP this year. We are at the start of the first LARP season, all exciting stuff. So without further ado, let's get into our continuation of our recap of Menhir's Fate, Event 2, 2025. Okay, last time we went over what we did on the Friday and Saturday of Menhir's Fate. We joined the Treasure Hunters Guild because basically we walked in there going, I wonder if they've got anything for us because the Adventurers Guild seems oversubscribed for like fighty stuff. So we'll see what's going on there. And then we got roped into this plot line. So we went and we got a load of scrolls from the enemy, from this cult in the void, and gave us a load of information on this specific cult or this specific army, I guess, which is very cultish, basically. Yeah. But they said to us, "Oh, come back tomorrow for there's a part 2 tomorrow," basically.
I do love this. There's quite a few things at Menhir's where they do it and then they got the part 2 for the things that you're doing. So I do like that being like in the whole weekend because it feels like you're completing a story each weekend, which I do like. Yeah,
so we went for it was slightly early one, didn't we? There was one at, I think it started at 8, 7,
yeah,
8 o'clock.
I think there was like an 8 o'clock one. There was like a 9 o'clock one. And
I think it was. I think it was ended up being like 7:30.
Yeah,
we went there. Remember we went there. Remember we in fact, have we got anything else to talk about before we started talking about the treasure hunter thing?
I mean, everything that happened on Saturday.
Oh, everything that happened on Saturday. Okay. Oh yeah. Well, we left off at the end of. Because we talked that we missed the red cap thing, didn't we?
Yeah.
On Saturday morning, didn't we? So we knew we were going to. We had a few things on the agenda. We'd had going back to the Treasure Hunters Guild that evening. We had the meeting with
in
Avro with the Griffin riders. Yeah, and what did we do in between that time?
So by the time they'd gone out and done the red cap stuff and everything, we all kind of like got back together and things. Al then had his meeting off at the bank. So we did
more bank
LARP. We did a little bit more bank LARP. So we went over that way for a bit. And then it wasn't that long after that it was time for our meeting, to be honest. Our meeting was at like 1. So
yeah, it was. Yeah. I guess we'll talk about like some of the dragon stuff. So we have our Dragon Bowl here.
It's our Dragon Bowl.
This is something that like your dad gave us like a while ago, right?
Yeah.
And we were like, it's got dragons on it. And then we were like, oh, we actually just took this to Menhir's Fate E1 just because, it's a cool little piece. And then we didn't realize we were going to be the dragon people. Right, so like Fadwi, like Owl's character has become Dragon Man, right? People literally coming up to him and being like, "Are you the Dragon Man?" So this is like the donation. We're using this as like the donation pot for this. We have a lot of legends to go before we get this dragon thing done, but it's growing like arms and legs, which is a good thing.
Yeah,
because people are so invested in this. There's other things going on, right? So someone wants to do another building to like annex onto it as well. To I can't remember. It was like but basically we have like people that like fire weavers, water weavers, air weavers, all wanting to take part in this. There was an oracle weaving.
Oh yeah, there was so many weavings done.
Yeah.
This weekend, all around dragons. There's so many. We went to see one of them, which was really cool to go and see. But
Yes.
yeah, they like found the
We're jumping
dragon
around in
eggs.
time, but it doesn't matter. Yeah, so because I just wanted to cover all the dragon stuff in case we missed any of it. So yeah, they had a water air weaving at the Menhir. Now, one thing I will say about the Menhir is that if you're not a weaver, you don't really get to see it because it's always
Yeah.
busy. And obviously it's not against the rules for you to go in and watch, but obviously it becomes very little space when there's a lot of weavers in there doing it. So
Yeah.
unless you are actually in the magic part of the game, seeing the Menhir itself, you don't really get to see it. But yeah, we got to see the weaving that like Fadwis was a part of. So
We got
I
to be
think,
part of it as well, didn't we? We got
oh yeah,
things
yeah.
to
They were
do
like, well,
and
if you're
things.
watching,
It was
just
really cool.
join along. So the person leading that weaving, like Al was telling me that they were a first-time LARPer.
Like that is incredible, by the way.
Yeah.
Because they nailed it.
Yeah,
they did
had
such a good job.
It was a big weaving as well. Like so, like most ritual magic in LARP is just like you have to do a specific amount of time of role play, right? So I think in like so example at Empire, because I know how Empire works. I don't really know how the weaving works here. So like Empire, like if it's a big ritual, it's like 10 minutes of role play. But if you do it at the Regio, it's like 5 minutes of role play. So you as long as you fill that with role play, that's the main thing. But this weaving that they did, they had like a live band.
Oh yeah.
Like a load of musicians to do it, and then they'd written like a load of lyrics and things like that.
They
for
handed
a
lyrics
song.
out to people that could like take part in it, so we got to like take part.
Yeah.
Oh, it was so good.
So they did this weaving where they used like air magic to. So I think like a few of them could speak dragon basically because we wanted to be able to speak when we finally get these dragons. We want to be able to speak dragon. So a few of them gave themselves the ability to, including our Knightly Order member Fadwis, who's been the progenitor of this whole
Dragon
thing,
Man.
Dragon Man.
Yeah.
So they did this cool weaving. And then what tends to happen in this game is you do weaving, and then you obviously you do your little out of character, and they give you the information. This game seems very much in that way of just like, we've done this thing. What now? Like, what does it give us basically? So they came out of the tent, and they were all speaking like they were speaking dragon basically.
Yeah, they were speaking dragon.
Yeah, and that I could tell like so I was like. Yeah, I'm gonna like, what would dragon sound like? I'll probably like a real kind of like Welsh, kind of like ancient Welsh Anglo-Saxon type. So he's coming out, he's sounding real like mystical in his like dragon speech, and then a couple of people came out being like floppity floppity, and like, okay, fair enough. Apparently only that. There was a split second where I was like Fadwis, how did it go? And then he's like speaking dragon to me, and I'm like, okay, like how permanent is this? Because out of character, I don't know if I could have coped with it for that long. And I was like, I'm going to go speak to the weavers. And I was like, how long does this last? And they were like, oh, it'll wear off. And it wore off. But
I think the response is, we think it'll wear off.
We think it'll wear off.
We think 5 minutes. Try 5 minutes. We're off to do something else now. And if it doesn't wear off in 5 minutes...
yeah. So this is actually later in the day, but I thought I'd cover it as well. They also did a weaving to find the dragon eggs. So they specified that there are dragon eggs in the hedge. But the nature of the hedge as well is the hedge doesn't want you to know where they are either.
Yeah.
So I mean, basically, we're gearing toward. I quite like the idea that all these like buildings and things like that you do, the game is there so you can generate more games. I think that's what I was wanting. I was wanting like, hey, like I want to build this dragon thing, but it seems like this game is built up so that we can do plot in our nation, and other nations can do plot based around what we're doing. So they throw these things out to you, but we're the ones that kind of went dragons. And now, but we're trying to give it to plot team to be like, hey, it'd be really cool if we did like an adventure where we go find a dragon egg, So the weavers are like, okay, let's go see if we can see the dragon eggs. We know they're definitely, because there was a moment in the in the game where we were like, the hatchery is on the wiki. It's a little bit unsure whether we have or have not got dragon eggs.
And this entirely depends on Which crew member
you asked at what point? Because I think they
At
were
what
like,
point?
do
Yes.
we? So so currently we do not have dragon
We
eggs.
don't have
we
eggs.
know that there are dragon eggs.
And that was what was really exciting about the weaving is
Mm.
that, and that's why they were so excited, is that we know that they are there, they are definitely there. And that's what was so exciting, is that this, up until this point, was like, you know, very theorized that, you know, there's dragon eggs out there, we need to find them. And they're all excited because they know we found them, they exist. So I'm like guessing like some of the next things to come out of this will be a case of gathering these eggs. And I guess there can be a lot of different ways of doing that. Like we talk about stealth missions. Some of these eggs might already be, you know, under, you know, lock and key somewhere else, you know?
So the only issue we have is, I mean, this is something for the game. There was a couple of comments actually on the last video that we did for Menhir's Fate, being like asking questions, oh, how are they going to figure out this? How are they going to do this? And I'm like, this is the game runner's problem, basically. Like, I think the problem is with our nation, because it is tied to Valdeath, because there's so many of us and we're all into it. You basically have like 80 to 90 people being like, I want to go on the dragon thing. So they're going to have to figure that out plot wise, how they're going to do that, I guess, because there's not enough different plot points to be like dragging us all in different directions. Everybody is just like dragons. But we kind of need to obviously finish up this red cap plot as well.
Yeah.
So and the actual dragon training ground is a while for it to be like, I think it's several legends and we have like 2 legends.
Yeah, basically we're a little bit far off on that. So once we actually get the eggs and we put them in our hatchery, that's when we really kind of want to be close to getting our training grounds done, because at that point we're going to potentially have a load of dragons and no location to train them in, or any people that know how to train a dragon.
Anyway, so talk about like riding mythical beasts. I just thought I would go on about some of the dragon stuff. So we went to Avaro to speak to the captain of the Knights of the Eyrie. That was a real cool roleplay interaction.
That was really cool. It was really intimate inside one of the tents in Avaro, and it was really interesting to speak to someone that had that sort of passion, and to make that sort of connection and that realization that actually there might be a way we can help each other here. Maybe not as direct as we thought originally, but there is something here.
But we try to be good LARPers, because we were like, we don't want to cut. This is Avaro's plot.
Yeah.
We don't want to be as like the Valdeath coming in being like, oh, we're here to just interact with all your plot.
Yeah,
but
that's not
we were like careful at first, and we literally said that to like the threads of Avaro. We were like, yeah, we don't want to come in and like bulldoze our way, but they were like, no, like the Avaro players haven't, none of them really have interacted with this plot to this point, because you were the only ones that took the downtime. And like, so yeah, please go in and interact with the Avaro players and tell them about the Griffins. So we had this cool like back and forth, didn't we? Being like telling the captain of like, hey, like, you know, we want to do this with dragons. It looks like the Griffins at this point, you know, you've kind of lost the knowledge of like how to breed them and how to like they're all old and they're precious, because you like when you lose one, it's a big deal. They've just lost one. So they're kind of at the end of their story, where we're at the beginning of our story of our dragons. Maybe we can all, you know, work together. We're all in the same. We're all in the part of the Crown Land, so we're in the same realm, Avaro and Valdeath, and there's like history there.
It makes sense for us to kind of try it, because the idea of Haven is for us all to work together here, and there is history. There is a bit of friction between some of these nations, and Avaro and Valdeath being one of them.
Yeah.
So it does make sense for us to find something that makes us want to work together, like in character. So and that's working out quite nicely.
And it was cool as well, because because there was literally a couple of Avaro players that were really passionate about the Griffins. So, and I've seen as well on the Discord, so they're really getting into the idea, because I think they've even got like they're looking at breeding them and things like that.
Yeah.
But it's people like Owl that came into the game being like, I'm going to do all this stuff just based on one bank LARP meeting, and it's generated all this stuff, and people are cottoning on to be like, oh, we can generate our own game in this game, which I think it's quite, it's not unique to this game, but it's one of the best parts of the game. You know, it's very difficult to do that in other LARPs I've been to. It's very difficult to be like, all right, I'm gonna go do a thing that's gonna generate a lot of this stuff. So yeah, you can go and build a bakery, but you know, the fact that he was like, well, I think they've tweaked some of the costs, because obviously the people in the bank and the game runners are a bit like, well, we don't want this to get too out of hand, because we had some Erdreven telling us about they wanted skeleton bear cavalry.
Yes, yeah.
Oh no, was it Morvalis? Sorry, Morvalis.
No, so it was a mixture of both of them with the bears,
okay.
and then Morvalis wanted the skeleton ones, and Erdreven wanted like natural bears.
Yeah, they were like, oh yeah, we want skeleton bear cavalry, which is that's the thing. If this is the type of game, also when we first did the thing with the dragons, I thought, oh, is this a bit too outrageous? But when we saw the downtime, I'm like, well, the world literally has griffin riders. Like this isn't actually that outlandish for what the world they've created. But yeah, that was a real cool interaction with them, because the captain was an NPC, and then obviously we had a lot of backwards and forwards with the threads, and they're such a small nation, and the Avro, their vibe is just so happy-go-lucky.
It's a good vibe. It's definitely a place that we kind of enjoy being.
And it was quite funny being the Valdeath being like, oh, by the way, like, yeah, you literally have like Sauron and the forces of Mordor at your gates, and if you don't protect your borders, you're all going to die, you know. They were just like, oh, cool, let's play pots and pans, you know.
It's such a good vibe, honestly. Yeah, no, Avaro was definitely like up there in our like.
Yeah, I've got to admit, I mean, you know, that kind of, because it's supposed to be the D&D nation, as in like it's supposed to be the whimsical adventure, like, you know, I'm a farm boy that goes out and I'm going to save the world. You know, I'm just a humble farmer, but I'm going to learn some magic, and I'm going to go out and I'm going
to save the world.
I'm going to go save the world. Exactly. And we like kind of archetypal wizards and things like that. It's very like Avaro. I like their vibe. And obviously when I saw some of like the military aspects of it, because that's the thing, a lot of the military I think that was maybe the issue. I don't know if it's an issue, but I think that's what was missing there, is that a lot of people that had interest in the military fighty aspect of this LARP went for Valdeath.
Yeah.
And the briefs are similar enough, because you can play like a knight in shining armor in Avaro.
Yeah.
It's totally in brief, but a lot of people that wanted to do that went with Valdeath, because we're supposed to be a bit more grimdark, but it hasn't really come across too grimdark, has it?
Not yet, actually, no. And I feel like, I mean, the way that we were all like playing it, Valdeath is becoming a little bit different than what it was originally set out to be. But everyone is having fun in that setting. Everyone is enjoying what they're doing, so I think it works out fine.
I also did hear, because Avro did a weaving. Was it you that heard? And they were. Yeah, you heard the weaving, and they gave us a shout out on the weaving. That was on the Sunday, yeah, Sunday afternoon. I was like walking past, and I could hear Avro in there shouting and cheering, and then shouting and cheering for Valdeath. I was like, wow! And this weekend, we've actually managed to repair some of these bonds between these nations. People are still playing to the tension, so they're still saying, "Oh yeah, they stink," and all.
But it's a little bit more fun in this sense. I'm getting it was more just like they weren't like cheering so much for Valdeath. They were like, they were like cheering for Valdeath, and all I heard was somebody being like, yeah, some of them are all right.
Some of them are all right.
I might be some of them.
Yeah. But also, I mean, I did like, I looked at Avaro and was just like, oh, there's the nation and the brief compared to like, you know, what they have in plot. There's basically not enough players to fill all the stuff you can be doing in that plot. And I was like, damn, like, I kind of wish we were in one of the smaller nations now, because I'm like, oh god, you just get so more involved with the entire nation at this stage of the game. And it just so happened, I didn't actually expect Valdeath to be the most popular. I was actually very surprised that it was.
I thought Sardonia would be.
Yeah, I think Sardonia
or Morvalis. I expected them to be the more popular ones.
Yeah. I guess Morvalis is a one of the bigger ones, I think
so. I think the three that was mentioned, they're all some of the bigger ones. But yeah,
my camp wasn't huge at this time, Morvalis. Cyrodiania's camp was a lot smaller this time.
A lot smaller this time than it was at the E1,
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, I just wanted to cover like the dragon stuff, and then we went to sort the Griffin, go see the Griffin night. I mean, it was quite cool, because the captain or the general or whatever it is was like quite grizzled, being like, you do realize that, you know, these aren't dragons, they're Griffins, you know, and they're like, it basically wished us the best, but wasn't like purposely wasn't like enthusiastic and optimistic about like let's rebuild and let's do this and let's do this. So like obviously leaving us to be like, and the people of Avro to be like, let's
Yeah.
get the Griffins back on the up and up. So which I think that I hear they're doing, you know,
That
in the
is exactly
downtime
what they're
stuff.
doing.
I think downtime will probably go help Griffins again unless there's
Yeah.
dragon stuff, basically.
I mean, we kind of said that to him as well, didn't we?
Yeah.
We did that sort of thing of like, you have us, we will
come and help
you know.
but if there's dragon stuff.
Yeah, unless there's like dragon stuff, or if there's, you know, something threatening Valdeath, you know, we probably need to go and deal with that.
Yeah, exactly. We came back. We had the tea party.
We went for a tea party. This was really cool, actually. So we went, and everybody was invited to come to this tea party, and it was very much like this, like, you know, it was you were encouraged to bring your best gossip to this tea party. And this was good fun, actually, because we got there and we saw a few familiar faces in that tent, and everybody was very much like full on like noble attire, if you like. And they made this tea, and they were coming around with this pot of tea. I like clocked this ribbon attached to the tea. I was like, well, I'm having some.
Yeah, it had a role play effect on it, didn't it?
Yeah.
It was like, oh yeah, you feel compelled to spill the tea, basically.
You were there to spill the tea.
Spill the tea. Yeah, I like that as a concept.
It was so much fun.
It was fun. It was funny being like the nightly order in there as well, because we've basically gone. We are not taking part in the debate on the monarchy versus the republic when it comes to Valdeath. So there used to be a monarch, and there are some pro monarchy, anti monarchy stuff flying around, like especially with like nobility and things like that, and how much status that gives you and things like that. And as the nightly order, we've been like, no, because the idea was our nightly order, we come from all walks of life, and we're like, as long as you're knighted, that's the main thing, you know, a bit like the Jedi Knights. It's just like, it doesn't matter where in the galaxy you come from. You be a slave or be it a noble ambassador or something like that. Once you're part of the order, that's, you know, you are a knight. That's and you follow the way of the order. So it's been quite cool being like, yeah, we're just like the neutral party.
Yeah, we're just here. We're neutral, and everybody's accepting that as well, which is really cool. Like, we said that, and everybody in the tent literally went, "Ah, yes, of course,
of course,
that sounds right." So, what's your opinion on this thing? You know, and it was quite cool.
Yeah, I mean, if anything, because we were just like, oh no, we're a nightly order, and we, you know, our seats are supposed to be representative of all the gods. And they tried to drag us in that direction. They were like, "Oh well, you know, if we do have a new king, then they will need, you know, perhaps they will need people like you to advise them." You know, and we're like, if that's for the good of Valdeath, yes. If it's not, then no.
Yeah, that was our standpoint on everything. It was quite funny. And then we all drank the tea that allows us to gossip. That was fun.
Yeah.
And
yeah. Anything else we did before we started treasure hunting?
A couple little things. So I kind of want to get into the cipher game a little bit. So I went around, I found some ciphers. Because I kind of got into this part of the game really late, I'd missed like a lot of the first part of the ciphers, but I still had a lot of fun just playing with the ciphers that I found. And I was like, okay, this is definitely something I could see myself getting into a little bit more. I think next time I'm gonna maybe like early on be like, right. And I was invited to Cypher Club. So I think what I'm going to do next time is start off in Cypher Club, and just kind of, because it's a bit of a hard skill, but it's definitely a hard skill that needs worked on a little bit more. And some of the terminology, basically, I'm quite good with ciphers, but people are saying different terminology, like, oh, it's this type of cipher or that type of cipher, and I'm like, I have no idea what you're talking about. I just play with it a bit. So I'm looking forward to kind of playing a bit more with that. But no, I think at that point we kind of just had you know, we just chilled out with all our friends, went to the bar a few times, and watched a couple of things happening in the square.
There was bits and pieces happening. Now I remember we were like, is it at 8? Because then we rushed to go get something to eat. We were like, oh, this could take a long time, then we don't want to come back, and then the food vendors are shut. So we then like rushed our food came back for 8, and then we're like, oh, I think it's 8:30. So we were like, oh.
So then we chilled out, went back
Chilled out,
over
went
to
back up
food.
to get other food with other friends. And then, we came back, set out on our treasure hunting adventure, part 2. So we went.
This is fun.
This was amazing. So the plan was this time. So there was 3 different objectives, right? We were in the first group. So it was all about getting this banner, right?
Yeah.
So we were going into enemy territory. The job was to go in, sneak in, take the banner of a general of the enemy, because this banner is magically tied to the general. Not that I'd know anything about that, right? So I was like, how have I got into general game again?
Yeah.
So this banner is magically tied to this general, and the general we're going to be fighting tomorrow, right? Or his army we're going to be fighting tomorrow, their army. Steal the banner, bring it back to Haven, get the Weavers to curse it, and then sneak it back in. So then
on the later mission.
So it was basically, it was a 3-part mission. So we were like, well, we're going in first.
Yeah.
And we were like, no, let's get this done. We want to get.
Yeah, let's go first, because the previous night we were doing it until like after timeout. And we were like, you know what, let's just do this first.
So we're like, right, okay. We're standing around, and so the job I thought was pretty straightforward. There was a bit.
It seemed like a really straightforward.
There was a bit of
job to do.
confusion. Maybe new LARPers, or just there was like talk of like, basically you had to come in. So Magpie, who was our guild master leading this, was like, right, okay, my daughter is a spy. She's infiltrated the enemy. You're going to be going in. You need to locate my daughter. There is a signal that she will give to let you know, 1, it's her, and 2, that she's not been corrupted. If she's been corrupted, she's probably lost, and then you probably have to kill her. I was like, well, that's not good. But if she's not corrupted, she will tap her foot 3 times, and you have to tap your foot 3 times.
Yeah, in response, so she knows it is you.
Then you ask, there's a code. Ask her the question. Say to her, it's cold in Morvalis.
And she will reply, with, only if you're born there.
Only if you're born there. She will then lead you to the banner, right? You need to take the banner, but don't touch it, because you will get corrupted if you touch it with your bare skin. Take the banner out, job done. There was a lot of, because we were waiting there for a while. There was that moment where people were saying, "Wait, hang on. So do I tap her foot 3 times?" And then there was when you're given too much time to plan. And
people start thinking about the sort of, I've actually got this ability and this ability.
I can do this.
Could we do this? And could we do that? And before you know it,
someone was like, I can smite with this. And they were like, should we let the person who can smite? And I'm like, this doesn't sound like we don't need to smite in anything, right? Let's
stealthy, tiptoe in, tiptoe.
Yeah, I was like, we'll leave that for contingency plan, okay? So I will say this game in particular, it's a great game. It's very, very good for new LARPers. We do tend to fall foul of the fact that we have lots of friends on the other side of the game. And I'm always conscious of making sure the game is spread around. But sometimes you end up, I got to this point of the weekend. I didn't have a fight on Friday night at all. Didn't have any fighting. We did have a scrap actually earlier on in the day, which we didn't mention, which was like the camp attacks.
Which
is quite funny. Because I ended up, I remember I walked over to, because we didn't, Valdeath didn't really get attacked that much, directly. I remember I walked over to the Wonder, and I was like, right, I'm going to go and help out the Wonder. And I ran over there, and I was like, what's that line on the ground? It's one of our threads, just spread eagle, in the grass. And he just had the biggest grin on his face, being like, I'm in danger. Just okay. And I saved our thread twice. With my I've seen worse, which is just the best guarding ability ever. So anyway, I hadn't had much of a fight. I hadn't had much plot or cool moments. I got to witness the cool moment the previous night, and I looked at it and I was just that way. I was just like, I'm just gonna go for it. I was like, I know what I'm doing. And then we went in, and I was like, right, okay, we'll see if anyone else takes charge, right? So I walk in, and they're like, right, you go around the left hand corner, and then then you're in. Okay, off you go. So I walk up and I'm like, oh, my shoelace is untied, and I stop to tie my shoe, and I turn around. All of you are like behind me, and so I was like, oh, I guess I'm taking the lead then. So we enter, and it's the same kind of set. It's the same setup, obviously in character. It's a different area, but it's the same setup. So I run up to that middle tree. I'm like going straight for that middle tree that I did last night. Watching now, I'm struggling to because I kind of knew we were given a description of the daughter, so I was like, okay, but it was very difficult to see where she was.
So hard to see.
So there was actually two patrols this time. There was 2 patrols of 2 guards patrolling this time, and. What were they talking about? They were talking about like
food.
They were talking about cheese and onion crisp or something.
Yeah,
weren't they?
Like cheese and onion. I don't think it was crisps. They were talking about cheese and onion, like stew or soup or something. And honestly, it was so hard to keep a straight face while they were having this loud conversation about like cheese and onion and like, you know, if that is a good pairing or not.
The crew later on in the day had told us about one of the other missions that went out. I think it was the one that went out after us, and they had to go into the building basically and burn the building down. But they were waiting for the players to come in and do the thing. But because they were having such funny banter, the players just sat and listened to them banter for ages, you know. But yeah, the guards are hilarious. So we got like 2 patrols coming around, and then I spotted like it's 3 in the corner, and they're leaving that person. I'm like, right, there she is, and I see like because she's got like distinctive hat and like red hair. And I was like, right, there she is, and I was like, no one else is behind me, so I'm like, okay, I'll scoot out, and as she's like left alone, she like stamps her foot 3 times, and I just like kick the stump 3 times. She turns around, then by this time the guards had kind of left her in the corner. Yeah. So I kind of like from the tree. This is so cool. I was like, it's cold enough, Alice, and she's like, only if you're born there. I'm like, low down. Sneak up to her and I literally have a full conversation. I was just like, okay. I was like, where's the banner? She's like, it's right in the center. I'm like, crap. That's not. She's like, I can't lead it to you. I can't lead you to it because I need to keep my cover. It's best if I keep my cover until you get it. I'm like, right, okay. And I'm like, because then they're starting to come around again. I was like, exactly. Can you literally point at it? And it's like they're literally there, and I can barely just see a pole sticking out. And I'm like, okay, right. So I have to then go back to the tree. There's 2 other people there, right? 2 of our people there, and we've been told you can basically if you sneak up, you can do like a stealth knockout. Basically, if you just get a short weapon, because this is one thing that we didn't say in the last episode. What they wanted to do was make this like rogue ranger game a non-com style of thing. So combat. You can if you really want to, but you can do the whole thing without actually doing combat. So it's literally just having you got a short weapon and you just touch the back of the person you're stealth knocking out or killing. Yeah. Right? And you just touch them and they go down. So they were like, oh, have you got a short weapon? I was like, well, you take this one. I know where the banner is. Yeah. You take those 2 out.
That was the point I caught up with you guys.
Yeah, you were behind us, right? At this point. So I kind of skirt around the back of these 2 guards as the other 2 kind of went up to stun them, which is quite funny. Did you see them go down?
Yeah, I was right behind you. So when we split off there and they went and did the stun, and you kind of went to the banner, I kind of came out of the tree there and kind of like kept an eye on you because of what was about to happen with the banner, and then they stunned the guards and the guards like dropped down. Now, I didn't see what they actually did, but I was told that they literally curled up in a ball and started sucking their thumb, like as if they'd just fallen asleep there. I was like, that is amazing.
Amazing. So I went into this obviously that clearing. I was like, right, I can get through there. There was a sleepy guard with his back to me, and I was like, right, I could probably take him out. And then the banner is right there, right? And I thought I saw like a body underneath the banner. I'm like, are they dead? So I was like, but then I saw the one leaning up against the tree, and I was like, right, I could take this one out. So I like crouched, like ran up, and it was painful because I thought I was next to a bush, but it was actually a load of nettles. So I put my hand through the nettles, like, ow. Anyway, snuck up behind this one guy with my knife out. And then because I had a sword and I gave him the knife to the other one, so I had my short sword. And then there was that way, it was like that video game where I saw the other patrol coming around. I was like, ah, and then I just like stopped halfway through and just did the Abe Simpson, like just turn around, went back to my hiding spot. they came up, and then I saw other people going up to take them out, which I don't know who that was. And I was like, cool, they're taking them out. They're going to distract them. So I went for the banner. So then the ref, I was like, is that the banner? Because there was several.
Yeah.
And the ref went, I can't tell you. I was like, oh, okay. It was dark, so it wasn't obvious. So I was like, well, it's the there was basically a purple bit of fabric attached to this banner pole. And I was like, right, okay, that has to be it. And it was held by this crew member who's L. Right? And they were doing the sleeping guard bit.
Oh, yeah, like she was like asleep, and like every so often she'd wake up and she'd be like, oh, patrol further away from me, you know, you're disturbing me, you know, and she'd go back to sleep.
Doing the whole like every time I was like, it's like crap, I'm gonna try and get this off. So it was actually tied on with like a rubber band.
Yeah.
Right? And I was like, I'm gonna have to get this off. And I'm like, I've been told not to touch it with my skin. And I'm like, oh well, I'm champion of the Guardian. I will take it. And I knew this was gonna happen. I was like, yeah, I'm gonna be corrupted as shit, right? So I was like, right, okay, and I start untangling it, and like, the guard's like doing this, like, and he's going back to sleep as I'm doing it. I get it off, and then grab it, wrap it in my cloak, and then just bolt.
Yeah.
Then just bolt out, which I think we didn't leave anyone behind that time, did we?
No, so you bolted out towards the air, but you started doing the role play as you were coming down, and that's when I kind of was like, screw it, ran out and grabbed you, and we kind of like carried on running. And like as we went out, so we established some hand signals before going in, and the hand signal of putting your hand against like your throat and waving it was basically a case of, it's done, everyone get out. So we ran past everyone doing that hand signal, and then enough other people got up and did the hand signal to each other, and we carried on running. Now the idea is we didn't want them to know the banner was stolen.
Yeah, because that would have screwed it up. Yeah,
that would have screwed it up. And as we get to the end, we hear them saying, wait, where's the banner? Where is it gone? Have you lost it? What's happened? But none of them followed us, which was good. That was like a really good sign. They didn't suspect it had been stolen. They suspected one of them had dropped it somewhere. The sleeping guard wasn't paying attention, whatever. So that was really good sign for us. And then we were able to kind of like roll out of the woods at that point.
Yeah. So as we're heading down, I'm like, cool, I'm corrupted. I didn't have a brief for what being corrupted was like, right? So I'm like, I'm corrupted. I'm like, how do I play this? And I'm like, I guess I'll just make it up, because again, I didn't have any role play prompts.
You took some votes from everyone, didn't you, on what the best?
Yeah, I was like, okay, so yeah, we decided. I was like, well, should I just do like Frodo at the end of Return of the King? Like, you know, just carrying this banner down. It's a long walk as well from the top, so I was like, I'm not gonna start role playing until we're close to the Weavers go. So what was supposed to happen is we were supposed to take it to the Weavers at the Menhir, and they were supposed to then curse the shit out of it. Basically, that was the plan. That's what we were told. But when we got there,
we were told the Weavers were waiting there ready to curse it when we got there. And then we'd have to deal with you, basically. Or the Treasure Hunters Guild was going to fix you. Yeah.
But I'm like corrupted, being like, oh, I'm so corrupted. And they would do so in the Menhir. When we arrived there was a load of Portavas having like fun magic boat time, and they were all happy, and I'm like, oh, I'm corrupted. Blah, blah. So we had to kind of wait for them to like clear out, and then I dive into the Menhir, and so many people in the Menhir were just like, what is going on? What's happening? You know, they're like, oh, you know, he's corrupted. So I'm trying to do like Smeagol in the corner.
You were like crawling up, and you were like curling, and you were giving people this look as if like your actual like family, this look as if you'd never seen them before, like in your life. And you were just like, you know, I know that Oliver Facey was in there taking photos.
Yeah.
And I really can't wait to see these pictures, because I'm sure he got a picture of your face when you were just doing it all.
So they were like, okay, well, you need to obviously do something with the banner, and I'm just like, no, I'm hanging on to this banner now. Like, I'm corrupted, and I hate you all. So Fadwis is like, does this whole like, again, I'm like Frodo, right? Just like precious, like that, and he just turns into like Gandalf in Fellowship of the Ring. It's like,
oh my god,
Frodo. He's like he like stands up and starts like basically calling me a little bitch.
Yeah,
you know?
he literally did. Yeah.
Yeah. He's like, you're better than this, brother. Look at you, pathetic on the floor. Look, you stand up and everything. I think people would just be like, don't be so harsh.
Well, so somebody ran up and like, no, hey, he just saved us all, and I was like, no, just let him do this. He needs this.
He's like, you are stronger than this, brother. Look inside yourself. Hear my voice. And I was like, okay, brother. And the thing is, I was almost like, I don't know what. So I was like, okay, what I'm gonna do. So I'm going to separate myself because I'm still corrupted. So I just got the banner and just like threw the banner like at the Menhir and then ran out, right?
Yeah.
Because
This is hilarious.
I think everyone thought because like Valdeath is a priest, I think they thought he had the ability like cleanse corruption, because if you get corrupt, you can use cleanse corruption. It's done. I think people thought that's what he was doing. And I know out of character that he doesn't have that ability. So I'm like, I'm still corrupted to shit, right? So now I run off and I'm like, right, okay, we're going to run off. Because basically what I didn't want to do is just stay there role-playing in front of the Menhir when there may be other people wanting to come in doing rituals and things like that. That people would be like, what the hell's going on in the Menhir? We're scheduled to be in here now. So I was like, right, I'm going to throw that and then do extra roleplay outside. So I was like, I'm going to run away. But I ran. I didn't realize how fast I was running because then hardly anyone followed. To the point where I was like, right, if no one follows me and if I get away here, I'm like, what am I going to do here? Because I'm corrupted. So I'm like, and the Treasure Hunters Guild assured us, like, if one of us got corrupted by touching this thing, that we would be safe. I was like, how would I do this? And I was like, what I could do, I had a couple of options just swimming through my head, which would have been quite cool if they happened. It didn't. But one of them was to literally go hide in a bar somewhere and just start drinking, so that like you guys were like, Lancelot is corrupted and he's somewhere in Haven. We've got to go find him, right? My other thought I had, which would have been really cool, was to just run out, because I'm like, I'm corrupted. I don't want to be in Haven now because I'm like, I've had this strong corruption, and I'm still corrupted. That no one's sorted me out yet. I'm like, well, sure, I'd want to get out of Haven. So I was like, wouldn't it be cool if I ran so far that I just out of Haven just went to skirmish and just went, hey, I've been corrupted and they let me leave Haven. Is there any corrupted skirmishes going out tonight? Or just because I think it would have been really fun if you had been like, where is he? Where is he? We can't find him anywhere. And then a skirmish goes out and then you just see me on the other side or something. Like, that's a corrupted. It didn't happen that way.
We all would have died in that moment.
you guys caught up to me. I was expecting you to take your sword out and like take me down, but
yeah, like I wasn't 100% sure, to be honest, because I was like, first of all, you kind of went bolting out, and I knew you didn't have cleanse corruption. I was like, right, okay, how am I going to do this? And I thought you kind of like did this sort of turn round to Valdeath. I was like, okay, I'm just going to outrun and get there. But by the time I got there, by the time we got there, people already had a hold of you. I was like, I don't need to hit you with a sword.
Yeah.
You're stopped. You stopped running. Yeah. But I was like, if he runs again, I will take him down.
Yeah.
But still didn't want to do that. But, yeah.
And then luckily, Priest of the Traveller came along in Valdeath, and
he was really good.
Yeah, he had like a full book. He's got like a full book of like stuff that he does for his like ritual stuff. I think a lot of people really like the weaving stuff. That I've seen a lot of people go from fighting and priest stuff to the weaving. I think people are really into the weaving, even though a lot of people were really keen on the priest and paladin stuff at first glance of the game. I think there's a way that you make the priest game really fun.
Yeah, definitely.
But yeah, like this Priest of the Traveller used cleanse code. Basically, luckily we had like 2 people that had it basically there, and then this priest was like, no, I've got it.
This was another thing that was really good. Like in contrast to E1, when we told the story of when you were literally dying and we're going around and people are like, oh, right, yeah. Anyway, look at this other thing. The contrast to this is we ran in and we have people from all different people. We've got the person running the bar and everything, and everyone runs up, goes, right, this is happening. And then they all split off to find help and bring it to you. I went, wow, this is a real contrast from what happened at E1. But it's really cool because it's really solidifying the fact that we all want to work together here. And you've got somebody who is corrupted, and we're all going to make sure that we fix this person because this is one of us.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, I got cleansed.
Yeah.
Felt better. And then I was like, oh no, the bat, because I was trying to be all like hero, and I was just like, oh, like as soon as I got cleansed, I was like, oh my god, I threw the banner. I was like, hope I didn't hurt anyone. So I then ran ran back to the Menhir.
We had this full thought of, are we going to run back and everyone in here is going to be corrupted? Like, how is this going to happen?
Yeah. So apparently, they've had the banner on the side. We went because we met back up with Fadwis, and then was like, okay, well let's go have a chill out. We've done our part because there was 2 other parts to. Obviously, the other team had to do their bit and then take the banner back. So we're like, we've done our bit.
Yeah.
And the treasure hunters guild were really pleased with us, weren't they? They were just like, yeah.
Oh yeah, they were chuffed.
yeah. They were like, we're gonna come tell your threads that how good you did on the Sunday. And I was like,
yeah.
Our threads won't care.
Our thread is our sister. She's not going to care.
I was like, you'll tell my sister how awesome
from
we are.
another nation, they might care.
Yeah. I think, out of character and in character, just like, I don't need people to tell me these 3 have done something awesome. We're fed up of hearing stories of them being awesome and saving the day.
Funny.
Yeah.
So we like, after that, we kind of, so after this is when the whole weaving was happening with the allowing Fadwis to speak to dragons and stuff like that. So that wasn't happening after this. And then we basically did a little bit of a like, let's have a wander around. As the 2 of us went for a wander. We played some games.
Played some games. And so the Adventurers Guild has had this storyline since E1 where they've been doing vampire stuff, and we missed all the vampire stuff. I don't even know what the hell was going on with the vampires. I got to admit, but so many people were into the vampire stuff.
The vampire stuff happened at E1, and basically there was a vampire that had appeared, obviously, and a bunch of people swore themselves to this vampire. So that happened at E1, where it started off as, there's a vampire. Okay, we're going to have to kill this vampire, and very quickly, vampire was hot is what kept going around camp. So naturally, everyone swore themselves to the vampire. So this happened at E1. And E2, there's going to be a tourney to kind of like, this was when it got a little bit confusing. It was kind of like to appease the vampire and so on. But this was going to happen later on at night from this point. So there was going to be, so we like, we're going past the Adventurers Guild, and there was tons of people showing up, big crowds of people, all that there's going to be a vampire here, there's going to be a tourney, there was champions from every single nation. This was quite late at night, and at this point, like, it hadn't really quite started yet, so we were like, let's go have a wander around, let's go have some drinks with our friends, let's just, like, see the sights. So you and I kind of went off by ourselves at that point, didn't we? And we ended up playing some games, we raced some little animals.
We raced some animals, yeah.
But so at this point we went off. We actually got to do something really cool. So we were out walking, and we were like near like where the wonder and everything is, and we saw these little lights over in the distance. And they were like floating, and they were green lights. Yeah, they were green lights. Yeah. They were bright green lights floating in the distance. Now, previously in the weekend, we knew that there had been a few things happening involving wisps. We knew that these wisps had been seen in Valdeath. We knew that red ones were bad and green ones were good.
Yeah, they almost killed a couple of our threads, right? Yeah.
But either way, they were supposed to be encouraged to like head off out of the area and so on. So like literally earlier that day when we were getting ready to do things, or the day before when we get around to do things, 2 of our threads ended up down on the ground, and everything was drained from them basically, and it was to do with these wisps, and certain people had found a way to turn the red ones green and so on. But we're standing there and we see like 6 or 7 bright green lights in the distance, and we started walking over to them, and then they all went out, and we're like, oh maybe they've gone.
Maybe we missed the Willow Wisps.
And we stopped for a bit, and one by one they started to light up.
I'm sorry, let's just keep walking over there.
And they started like going like up and
down, a fair
distance all
out,
over.
You know?
Oh yeah, it was way out. Like there was us 2 and 3 other people that all just kind of congregated on that area. And then the wisps came up to us, and before we knew it, we were standing there with all these wisps going around
in the dark,
us.
obviously, because it was pitch black, wasn't it? So.
Oh my god, it was amazing. And we were like, it was quite cute because I was like, what do they want? Do you think they want us to touch them? And as I said that, all of them started nodding up and down frantically. Up and down frantically. And I went and touched one. As I touched it, they gave me some essence as I touched
Spirit
it.
essence, yeah.
And then we're like, oh no. I was like, oh no, we've nothing to give them. What can we give them?
I was like, beer, because we always have beer on it.
Yeah, you're like, we got beer. Do they want beer? And
Yeah.
then all of them were like nodding like crazy.
Yeah.
We're like, oh my gosh, yeah, let's give them some beer.
So I took my tankard out, and the wisp was like, woo, and went into my mug, and was like, woo, and just left a load of flicker on my mug.
Yeah, left all this flicker behind.
Yeah, it was cool. We
Oh.
just saw them dancing around, and then they all buzzed off, didn't they?
Yeah, they all
So,
just
yeah.
laughed, and it was just
Yeah.
really, it was a really sweet, really intimate little, like, you know, meeting of it all, and it was just so cute.
Those little interactions just make you feel like you're in a high fantasy
Mm.
style thing. That was just such a cool little moment, wasn't it? It's just like a real
Yeah.
highlight of that type of world. You know what I mean? It's such a cool little interaction, because it only really affects like 5 or 6 people, but because
Yeah.
it was at night and because other people are doing other stuff, it's just giving something to the people that aren't doing the other stuff. You know,
Yeah.
It's like people that are wandering around the camp and like going, oh look, you know what's happening on this side of the camp. I think that's really cool. But most of the camp was at the vampire thing.
Yeah, like at this point we kind of came back, and the vampires were there. We had like the main sort of vampire sitting there, and all of the what are they called?
Thralls.
Thralls.
Yeah.
Like there, and it was a big tourney. It was a big like WWE style tourney. There was really cool fighting. There was a lot going on.
Yeah.
But where it was positioned, because it was like round at the Adventurers Guild,
Yeah.
it was really different. They like basically everybody was crowded around there. This is late at night, like an hour before timeout on the Saturday, which meant all the bars were then now empty as well. And we were kind of
I mean,
like,
that was the problem. Yeah, because we were like, oh, you know, I want to get a drink, right? We were desperate for drinks. We'd run out of our own drink, and we were like, right, let's go buy some drink. So we went around and like tried to find bars, because it's late on a Saturday night. It was really
Yeah.
late. So it was get close to time. It was close to time out. It
Yeah,
wasn't
yeah,
even-
yeah.
So it was like, you know, midnight, and we were like, oh, let's go to some of the bars, because like the last event we went to the more Valdeath cocktail bar and things like that. We're like, let's go around, and just every camp was just empty. You know, every camp was dead. We're like, we'll go up to Krios. Surely there's like one person in the whole of Krios, and I'm like, okay, well, I guess we'll go and see this vampire thing. You know, again, it looked cool, but I had no idea on the plot. So it looked like what had happened is they had gathered a champion from each nation
Yes, what happened
to fight against the vampire thralls, and they were doing a tournament. We've already discussed about tournaments in the last episode. Like I've seen a million tournaments, you know, and I as much as I love seeing the theater of it, but a lot of people who are fighting are people I've seen in LARP fighting a million times. So I was like, I'm gasping for a drink, and I was just like, okay, I guess we'll sit here and watch. And it was going on a bit, wasn't it? Like everyone was having their moment.
It got
That's
to
cool, but-
like 10 minutes before timeout, and that's when we went, oh, we don't want to time out here. We want it with a whole load of role play we still want to do. I mean, I must admit though, my only regret was like, I wish I'd actually put myself forward for some of these tourneys earlier, because it'd be quite cool if I was in there fighting, because that'd be quite fun.
I guess.
But like just personally, like that.
Well,
would have been
I think
quite
the
fun.
people that had been in there had been involved in the adventurers, like guild vampire plot from the start, from
Maybe,
E1. To be
yeah.
honest, they seemed to be like it seemed to be quite established what was going on. I have no idea what was happening. Basically, it just seemed to be like, you know, the vampire was really freaking cool. Like, you know, she was like killing her own thralls and doing
really badass
and doing badass things. But yeah, it was a lot of people crowded around a small arena, and it took. So I ended up going to the not out of character, the bar that is there selling drink for real money, not in character money. It's the actual bar, the real bar. It's in the in character area. This is my point. So they've got a real one of the big TPs for the bar.
Yeah.
Big seating area, massive space, and it's just dead the whole time. Like there's no one that like I walked around and I was like, I'm gonna go see if it says it's open till 1. And I walk around, I'm like, is anyone here? And they're like, yeah. I'm like, are you serving? Yeah. I'm like, I was the only one. That was literally just me, and it was just like no one around. And I'm like, I got a couple of beers. And I was explaining to them, because I don't think the person working at the bar really knew a lot of what was happening on the field.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, well, you're the only place getting drink. And they're like, oh, is there other people selling drink? I'm like, no. Like it's all pretend, because of alcohol licensing and things like that. Obviously, I was like, no, so you know, we use pretend money, and people bring their own drink to have with their friends, and we pretend to buy a drink off each other, basically. I was explaining it to them. And they're like, oh, but no one's around doing it because they're all doing the thing. And they're like, oh, right, okay. And I looked out in front, and there's a massive space out in front. And I'm just like, I know they wanted it outside the Adventurers Guild because it was an Adventurers Guild quest line that was coming to a climax. But I'm like, they could have had it in front of the bar, and then loads of people would then go to the bar.
They had lots of chants going on around the fight, the Krios lot were doing almost like football style chants and stuff. And I was like, do you know what? This would have been quite cool, like right in front of that bar, like you said. If they just moved it over there, there'd be enough space for everyone to get around. People could line up at the bar, buy lots of drink, bring game to that section, and it wouldn't be so much out the way.
Yeah, because they've got cool. Well, because they've obviously thought about it, gone, okay, well, they've got the smaller TPs for the Menhir and the Adventurers Guild, and at that point, both tents were just jam packed full, and then they had the huge, great big one, the double one for the bar, but no one was in there at all, like hardly ever during the weekend, apart from like on the Thursday. And at times during the day, like lunchtime and things like that, but people weren't. There's no food there either. It's just drink. So I think honestly, what I don't want them to do is get rid of the out of character money bar.
Oh no, because it is such
because it was a lifesaver. But I think if they just repositioned some stuff, I think people would make more use of it. Because again, at that time of night, there was hundreds of people crowded around watching this fight with nothing to drink, and it was just like, oh, if you just rotated it, people might be going, if they see other people, but because I walked around and was like, is there anyone here? Is it open? Is it, so.
And that it would bring game to that side of it and everything, and just having that sort of like whole like atmosphere of walking in and out, grabbing drinks and stuff. They could have even had some popcorn there, did like a whole thing. That would have been really cool. But yeah, I mean, like, so yeah, like that sort of took us. So we were there till quite late, like I said, we got kind of close.
Time out.
Yeah, we got kind of close to that time out time. And then we had a few friends sort of coming up to us and things, and we were like, shall we, at this point, because it was kind of like, it's cold and everything, well, shall we, like head back up to the camp, stick the fire on. So we, all the usual people, the same group again, all got together at our camp, stuck the fire on, got the kettles boiling, got some marshmallows out. Yeah, we like sat there and chat, and we were like, we're not going to do the same as last night because that was crazy, guys. Like that was quite a lot.
Yeah. Well, it wasn't as bad. I think it was about 5 when we went to bed. It was about 5.
So we saw the sunrise again.
Yeah, we were like, oh, we're seeing the sun again. We do not want it to be as bad as
as soon as we saw the orange glow, we're like, not again.
Why have we done this again? So yeah, we were bad.
But we're monstering in the morning. We cannot miss monstering.
Yeah, it would be bad if we missed monstering. So yeah, so Valdeath this time, our monster slot was on the Sunday. So again, the last event we were like last thing on the Saturday. We're on the Sunday, so that's what they're going to do. Same with like the
next event, we're going to be the first monstering slot.
I don't know exactly how they're going to do it.
That's what they said. They're going to keep rotating it.
Yeah, so they're going to rotate it. But obviously, because we were the biggest nation, they could use us for like a big encounter, which they did. So we were monstering in the morning. This is the most fun I've had monstering at any game.
I was so much fun.
So because they kind of split us up. So instead of being like, oh, we're all doing this one thing, they took some of us to go do one thing and another group of us to go and do another. So first thing we did is we were Fallen. So we were the Fallen, and we went to do a skirmish with Erdriven. So the Erdriven nation support kind of briefed us and went, okay, and we got to like an insight, because it's cool because you get an insight into the other nation's like storyline and what they're up to.
Yeah, it was really cool.
And yeah, this is another nation that I was like, oh, I kind of into this nation as well because they're the dinosaur nation.
They have dinosaurs, like actual dinosaurs.
Yeah, and I'm like, I kind of want to do dinosaur LARP, and like their storyline looked really cool. So they were after this like artifact, this treasure, weren't they? It was an artifact or treasure. I'm sure it was treasure. It was cool. It was Indiana Jones style stuff.
It was an artifact they were after.
Something they were after. But this thing was, so we were all after it because, well, I mean, it's treasure, but it was something valuable because we're the Fallen, where we're all about like getting wealth. That's what we want.
We're basically going to this ritual site. Yeah. And that's what we were trying to get to.
Oh, no. So the treasure was in the glacier, and we had to do a ritual to break the glacier.
And then get into it, yeah.
Yeah. The Erdriven were trying to stop us.
Okay. Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
the Erdriven were trying to stop us doing that.
Oh, I thought they were also trying to get through the
I think they were probably
Yeah.
going to get it, but what we were doing, because remember, they were like, okay, well, so we had a ritualist with us, and the ritualist, if they were successful, would split the
Glacier.
glacier, and then they're like, oh, if you hear mass stagger, we're just going to keep calling mass stagger. So the idea is that the ground is shaking, you're going to like run off in different
Scatter
directions.
off and yeah.
Yeah, so that didn't happen. So I don't think they end up breaking the glacier,
No.
right? So we had a Erdriven, like corrupted Erdriven traitor, with us, who was like leading us to this treasure in this glacier, and we kind of had to like wait for them to Erdriven to appear. You know? So we were like the bodyguards, weren't we? For
we then got to do like the cool sort of like role play of, you know, they were obviously coming through the entranceway. We got to the cool role play of, oh, where's the ritual? So where's the glacier's over here? I think the glacier's over this way. We need to get to it. Oh no, we need to get there fast.
We need to get there before Erdriven do. Oh,
we really hope Erdriven don't get there before us.
And this monstering was make the Erdriven archers feel like heroes. That was basically what this was, you know, because
I was a pincushion by the end of it. That was crazy.
Yeah, because of the, you know, they do rend, and if you're not wearing any heavy armor, which we weren't, then it was just, you get hit by an arrow, even if it's on the foot, you die. Basically, you're bleeding out. So yeah, it was fun just to be, and we got to respawn several times.
Oh, so many times. There's so much fighting. Honestly, this monstering experience has taught me one thing. I am never playing a character in light armor. I can't handle it. I can't handle all the arrows. I just can't. I will forever be heavy armor. I will take the crushes.
But on the flip side, it's like, it's really cool to see, because I always feel bad for my archer friends in other LARPs when I see them doing their battles and people like don't take their arrow shots and things like that.
They do like a really cool shot and they get someone right in here and they just go.
So I mean, just real cool, like, you know, dinosaur monster hunter in the furs and the leathers and with their bows and things like that, and I'm just
shooting
like,
us all down.
That's so cool. I mean, that's fantasy LARP right there. That's so freaking cool. And to see all the Erdriven do their thing, I was like, damn, I want to do dinosaur LARP. Damn it.
One of them beat me up.
Yeah.
It was like, I got to some real cool role play of this. It was a lot of really cool back and forth role play on this monstering. It was just so good.
There was a few familiar faces in there as well. Like, I always try and, like, when I'm monstering, I try and like look for faces I know and go, I want to give this person a cool moment. You know, running in and just dying, and just yeeting myself in there. So that was in the woods. Also there was a funny moment where like we thought we were going to kill more threads. There's so many times where I heard stories of threads almost dying. We don't know what that happens when they die. So one of the Erdriven threads run in, they go down, and then another Erdriven thread runs in to heal them. They also go down. So like, oh, it's fine. They got back up.
They were fine.
Yeah, they were fine. Fine. Ghost in the machine saved them. But yeah, there was a real cool. It was cool to see like the other plot that other nations are doing and like be a part of it. So that was fun. So then we went from the woods back down to the skirmish tent, and then we were doing a big void attack. So we met with like Alligator, and he was telling us about. So he went off to do a Portavas monstering thing where they played a ship's crew, like a pirate ship's crew, and Portavas would just come in and basically kick their asses, you know, and take them down. He said he played a cook, you know, that had like a knife on him and things like that with like rendered like that. They didn't realize. So that they had a blast. Then we all got together and we all dressed up as the Void. Yeah. So in our purples and things like that. The Void are really terrifying, and I loved playing the Void.
Yeah, they're quite scary. So we got to because when we all got ready and everything, we all got our purple and everything on. We were a wee bit later than the others getting ready, and we didn't have any sort of purple stuff left. So instead, they covered us in blood and bandages, and Al played this sort of like priest that went in and had all these cool calls, and we were like our little group were the ones like there with the priest, and we were ready for certain calls to be able to go in and just like really cause some real damage. And we got to head out, and along with the Void we had like certain people that were like wrapped up in chains, and they were literally there to like explode as they went in and cause like mass calls along things. I'm sure they had like mass crush and things like that. It was quite terrifying.
Yeah, we were playing the same things as them. So we were playing flagellants. So we were like basically like crazed, like bloodied up, berserker zombies, like fast zombies, if you like, basically running in. But there were certain ones that had these. So we had the ability, if the priests were like the end is nigh, then we got like 3 staggers.
Yeah.
But then there were certain ones that would run in that looked like us as well, that would literally blow up. Yeah, and cause like the mass. Cool. It was like mass rend, wasn't it? Which was like, but yeah, and then obviously you had the rank and file with all the pikes and the pole arms and whatnot. But yeah, the whole, like, our chants were quite terrifying, weren't we? As we're like, so we attacked the Cyridonia side first, and then we went around to like the Wonder side, and again, because we were the biggest nation as well, bolstering the skirmish crew, we were like, it was quite a force, and we gave them a real good fight, didn't we? But yeah, doing that cool, just like yeeting yourself at people, just be like, yeah, you have 2 hit points, and as soon as your job is to run in and like our chant was just like, Oblivion calls and we answer, it's just like, we are death, we welcome it. It was quite cool to see all the looks on their faces as you just go like screaming in. There was one. Go on.
I was just gonna say, like at the start, I was like, I'm just gonna run into this. I'm gonna have so much fun. And like the 2 like explosions had already gone off and stuff, and I was like, right, I'm waiting for the call, and Alice said the words. I was like, yes, and I went full pelt running in, and they formed a circle around me, and I purposed, like, I knew they were all behind me, and I was like, yeah, it's like 1 hit, I'll be gone. I've got 2 hit points, and I was like doing all this stuff, and I couldn't, and like nobody would hit me, and I was like, they think I'm gonna do a really scary call. I'm gonna pick one of them, run at them, and hopefully someone hits me in the back. And I was waiting for that tap on the back, and then I did this huge like scream and roll down, and I was like dead, and it was done. And then somebody walked up to me and went, I am here to heal you. I was like, I'm not on your side. I'm not one of you. You don't want to heal me. I'm not going to do this to you, because I could give you some really good roleplay if you do.
Yeah, you can like take advantage of that confusion of like the LARP when they're just like, wait, hang on, oh well, you're monstering, you just run into the line, just keep attacking them. That's quite funny. But yeah, there was a moment where, like, because the thing is, it's fun, like, because Al's doing his thing and he's really good at like coming up with all this stuff on like so on the fly, and he was just doing this. Your end is no. I can't. I don't know how he does it. Just comes
he was like
up
pointing at certain people, like your end is coming. I am here to bring it.
There was this one player in the line, and he was like acting all cocky, and then I don't think, because people don't. Again, it's a new game. Some of the people don't have quite a grasp on the rules, and like I was like just doing this like fire and brimstone. He's like, I see the fear in your eyes. I curse you. And the look on this guy's face, it looked like he broke his heart. He was like, what?
He was like, and I was like, oh shit. I was like, I was almost gonna like run up and be like,
it's okay.
Out of character. It just means this. You're fine. It wears off in a few minutes. You'll be all right, mate. Do you know what? Maybe it was the guy behind you was talking to. Don't worry about it.
But there was this one archer that just kept nailing the priest. And just like every time we were like, because every time we respawned, he was like, this one archer. I keep trying to get my curse off and my calls off, but every time I'm like doing the roleplay, he just like shoots me and then gone.
I didn't see what archer it was.
Oh yeah, no, the archer was being sneaky. Yeah. It was like, and he was targeting the priest, so I was like, well, where you're, I'll just dive in front of the arrow, and then, unfortunately, when he did shoot, there was someone in my way, and I couldn't jump in front of the arrow, because I was like, that would be cool if I just jumped in front.
He really did a quite a hard hit on him as well, didn't he?
Yeah, I know. Yeah, he got a groin shot. It's like not on purpose, obviously. But,
no, definitely not.
Yeah, so and that type of I love that type of monstering where it's just like, yeah, go yeet yourself, and I'm just like, okay, I'm gonna give the players a cool time. I was just like looking around. A lot of time I will just like look for people I know that I'm going. Well, I'm gonna give you a cool moment. Give you a cool moment.
Yeah.
You look like you're gonna give me a cool moment. There was this moment where like, the owl was like, the end is nigh, and then we like run past him and like got 3 staggers, and then the Kairos phalanx is like
Oh
there, and I'm like,
yeah.
cool, and I like staggered. I was like, stagger like this, but obviously because they're interlocked, the whole phalanx like shift
Stagger
back.
together.
So did you do like this? It was quite funny. I'm just like, but then 2 stabs and I'm dead. But it was just quite funny to like go and try and stagger the entire phalanx of Kairos. I had a real fun. There was the void are really fun to.
Yeah, they're fun to monster.
Yeah, they're like kind of like some sort of like Warhammer 40k chaos faction. You know what I mean? Where it's just like it's very otherworldly and eldritch. It's really cool. But yeah, because our monstering slot was Sunday, and it's 2 hours. That takes up a good chunk of Sunday, basically, doesn't it?
Yeah, exactly. We did that, like, and we kind of headed back, got ourselves all like changed back in character, put just some like really light kit on, didn't we? We thought we're just going to like enjoy the last bit of role play of the event, and we basically just went around, saw our friends, went to the bank and put money in the bank, because government bonds. And then we continued, like, we got a bit more role playing around the bank area.
Oh yeah, you can put Flicker and Essence in the bank.
Yeah, you
so I
can.
asked a few people, and people didn't know, and I was like, when I got to the bank, I was like,
you can
I put it in? Yes. So the only thing you can't put in is faith.
Yeah.
But also, I got told when I asked the bank, you can put items in the bank as well, magic items. But you have to put it in a vault, so you can put something in. So say if I like had a magic shield, right, and I was like, okay, I want this in the bank, but I'm not going to take it out for quite a while. I could pay the bank, and they would keep it in a vault for me.
That's quite cool, actually.
Yeah, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, we basically went around, did some role play, saw some of our friends, got to catch up on what other people in the nation were gotten up to and everything as well. Checked in our dragon fund. Yeah, that was kind of like our.
Oh, was it really?
Our little ending there. Yeah, we had like a really just
really different event from the first one, because the first one was very just fight Space Marine LARP, just like fighting waves of enemies, saving trolls, killing trolls, doing lots of stuff like that. This one was very like, this was rogue LARP, hunter LARP, ranger LARP, kind of made a big impact, not doing our usual, like running around and being all paladin-y, like in people's faces. Different vibe, but like really freaking good event. Like that treasure hunters thing was so sick, and I love that I have that story to tell now. Like forever. Like, I love that.
It's weird because I was like, so in D&D, I'm never into the roguey stuff. In any video game, I'm never into that type of part of the game. I'm like, okay, whatever. And I was like, I'm not going to be into it in this either. Like, I don't know. This is all I want to do now. I to the point where I'm looking at my kit, and I feel like Artoria is going to have like a different set of robes that she puts on when she's ready to go and do her stealth missions. Because I want to do way more of this. Like, I almost want to get a different pair of shoes for this. Like, I really want to hard skill this. This is so much fun. So we're kind of jumping back a little bit here. This was when we were doing that like second stealth thing, and I was looking around trying to find you. Like, everybody was invisible. I tried to make myself a rock at one point, like with my cloak over me. We were all invisible until something caught your hood, and your hood came off, and this glowing blonde hair
wig. That's my wig just
That's
appears.
when I like made a beeline for you and basically went straight.
Well, it's difficult to know when you're wearing a wig. It's difficult to know when your hood is up and when it's down.
I'm definitely going to take some pins and like pin it in next time, because I think that would be quite good. Because that was the issue of mine, is my cloak kept coming down and cover my eyes, and I was already struggling because like the contact lenses in the dark do not do well at all. So I was like, that was already obscured a little bit. So yeah.
No,
it was a different game this time, but in a really good way.
Still great.
I'm kind of like, I'm looking forward to seeing what like E3 brings, because I'm kind of like, I want to experience every part of this game.
Let's do another nation.
I do. I think I've already decided that if Victoria dies, I think I'm going to go Krios.
Yeah, Krios is on the list. If honestly, like we did discuss this, we were like, you know what, we could literally do a load of stuff in Valdeath, and then as a group with the same characters, like move to nation to nation and do some stuff in each nation.
Move over to Averil. Move to Krios,
do some stuff there. We could totally have the same characters and then go to like the Wonder and then Aberro and do a little bit and then move on to the next realm with different characters or something.
That could be quite cool, actually. Yeah.
But it feels like that type of game that's quite exciting, that you're like, oh yeah, I want to try that kind of this nation. Before we go, the feedback they took on board like straight away, didn't they?
Oh yeah.
So there's a few things they changed. They changed the, like you say, the bank queuing system.
Yep.
They changed the water situation, so it wasn't too bad. Like the water wasn't too bad, but this time they had like Bowsers in where the traders were, and they had a Bowser in the town center as well, so you didn't have to walk out of because basically if you were in Avro, the Wonder, Erdreven, it's a long way to the taps on the other side, basically. The mains taps. What else? They changed a few things though. Like straight away, they got rid of the barriers around the traders as well. To try that out, I actually quite like the barriers in the last time.
I preferred the barriers up. I think it's because it was really clear you were stepping into and out of character area, which was quite good. So I preferred it without the barriers. Yeah, like I think that's going to be like a bit of like a trader question to see which worked better.
I did like seeing some of the traders on the monstering side.
Yes.
So there was that camp attack on the sun where we were fighting the bandits, and I saw a couple of the traders like on the monstering side. That was quite fun. That was a real fun. Like you and I taking down that one bandit that was decided to go right. We were just like, hey, let's do it, you know. We both ran like double team paladin.
We're like, shenanigans
time. Let's go. Let's do the running.
Chase them down.
Yeah, because sometimes some of the newer LARPers they like stand there and look at enemies. I'm just like, let's go kill them, and then
just chase them down.
Just run at them, and it's fun, you know.
They've only got so much stamina.
Yeah, exactly. So. Yeah, that was cool. Anyway, I guess we'll wrap this up. Yeah.
Yeah, that's us all sorted until E3.
Yeah, until E3. Right, cool. If you enjoyed this episode, make sure that you like, follow, subscribe, comment down below. If you went to Menhir's, if you want to come to Menhir's, if you had any interactions with us, let us know in the comments. Give us the stars if you're listening on an audio platform. Go check out the Patreon, other ways to support us down in the show notes and the description of the video and the podcast episode. We will be moving on next. We will be doing a What to Do at E2 Empire LARP. If you're interested in Empire LARP, we will be going, as far as I am aware, we are planning on going to the next two Menhir's Fate events. There is a bit of a gap now, so the first two events are quite close together. Now we have a couple of month gap between this one and the next event, so it's going to be a while before we bring you Menhir's recaps. But we might look at making some other content for Menhir's, because Menhir's seems to be what everyone's wanting to watch.
Couple of people lined up to talk about Menhir.
Yeah, we of course. Yeah, we have
some guests lined up. We've got some Menhir's guests, so
and we've got some Empire guests that are lined up. We've got other LARP guests as well, I think.
Yeah, we've got literally a Menhir's guest lined up. We've got Empire guests lined up, and then we've got some other LARP guests lined up as well, all for you.
Yeah, bit busy summer. Can't wait for it. Anyway, we love you very much, everybody. Until next time, stay safe. Bye bye.